As a boss or manager, who is the most entitled employee you ever had to deal with? My ex-husband and I used to run a restaurant. All was well, we had amazing employees who really put an effort in. As our business grew, we opened another location and hired a young hostess. She wasn't very intelligent, and I'd often have to remind her to leave her phone in her locker while she was on the clock. This was in 2007, so everyone in the world wasn't addicted to their phones yet, and in any case, nobody should wait to be seated till their hostess finished playing solitaire. After being forced to actually work a few shifts, she began to pout about everything, missed shifts, and the rest of the staff wasted a lot of time doing her job. She was useless. Here in Washington state, we're required to hang posters so our staff knew about labor laws and minimum wage standards. It very clearly stated both on the sign and in the state's labor board website that a person who is fired is to receive all of their outstanding pay on the following payday. Not a day before, that was the law. When phone-addicted hostess was fired, it was the day after payday. She'd worked 5 days into the new pay cycle, but she insisted that she wasn't leaving until she was paid. While I was eager to remove her from the building, there was no way I was going to allow some bratty 17-year-old kid to bully me into rearranging my day just so that she could get a check that wasn't due for another 2 weeks. I said no. You'll get paid on payday like everyone else. If she'd been a good worker, or if she had a family to care for, I might have been a little nicer, but she was a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum. If I was in the mood to show favoritism, it wouldn't have been directed toward her in a million years. That wasn't enough for her, but she left, sprinkling veiled threats that I was going to regret messing with her. Her father was a police officer in town and he stopped in to see me the next day. He said he was here to pick up his daughter's check. I told him there must be some sort of misunderstanding. She will receive her check on payday. He wasn't happy with that and insisted that he'd be calling the Department of Labor. I advised him that was probably a good idea, maybe they could explain it better than me. The next day, her mother called, ranting and raving like a lunatic about how all their friends would boycott us, how she was wrongfully terminated and she would see me in court, and all sorts of other garbage. I couldn't take it anymore and put her in her place, with facts about her daughter's on-the-job behavior. And I even suggested that they're creating a monster by allowing their little princess to move through life ignorant of actual laws and sucking her parents into her phony little drama. I said stuff along the lines of, "Don't you have better things to do?" And, as people who work in law enforcement, shouldn't you be teaching your kid to be aware of what their legal obligations are? Your daughter can't even show up for work and do her job. What kind of future can she possibly have if she can't even do this little job correctly? The phone call ended and I called the labor board myself, just to make sure I was reading the rules correctly. I was. When our stack of paychecks came in an envelope from the accountant, I rushed her straight to the post office, just to make her wait a little longer. Technically employees can come and collect their paychecks in person, but I thought I'd do her a favor and mail it to her. I even spent the extra $5 to require a signature upon delivery. I did not want this entitled, spoiled girl or her parents anywhere near my restaurant, plus the postage would make her wait at least another 3 or 4 days for her money. To my delight, I smiled all weekend long, ignoring her family's calls and visits. I'd done nothing wrong. All of our other employees received their pay at work, and I never heard from this bratty little girl again.